Yay! I get to make chocolate chip cookies, and this is, well, it's Christmas. Merry Christmas to everyone who is out there doing whatever you're doing today on your own. I really hope that everyone is healthy and safe right now, and, you know, just trying to celebrate Christmas in the best way possible given the current circumstances. And for those who aren't familiar with what I'm doing right now, as if you were watching on Thanksgiving, I was actually doing this with a prime rib roast, and that one was actually pretty successful. I did enjoy eating it, and it was great leftovers later. But I will say this: one of the things that didn't end up on film was that after I had finished putting everything in the oven, about 15-20 minutes in, the top of the rib roast caught on fire. So yeah, because of that, it made for a very interesting time in regards to the way that uh, well, actually, it didn't affect the taste or anything like that, but it did char up a little bit at the top. Now, fortunately, the top is mostly, fat, so it was just kind of flaming on that. But it was kind of a problem. I definitely needed to not have things on fire, and that wasn't a good idea. So, with that being said, I promise that I will not, light anything on fire. But I will say though, the chocolate chip cookies. I'm very just glad to have made it this far in the year, and I will say that, and reiterate this many, many times, but I will say if it weren't for the help of extended family and friends, this would not be possible. And so this live stream here, in some ways, is kind of a thank you to those who had helped me over the year and have just been good people. Regardless if it's just a word or two on Facebook or a message to say hi or something like that, or even something as simple as, I actually did not have any flour today. I looked through my pantry and went, are you freaking kidding me? I have no flour. And my next door neighbor had flour and has donated 2.5 cups of flour to do this so I could do this webcast, and of course I will be paying them back in cookies. So this is just one of those things where you kind of go, all right, it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to be vulnerable. We're all in a place where, yes, these circumstances have really taken their toll, and they've really forced us to be a lot more, let's say, resourceful, and in many ways, doing things that are different from what we're used to doing. And it's scary. I mean, if I was really going to go into a lot of just what's been going on over the year, it's all the things that we've all been doing just to stay safe, and just to try to make normal out of not normal is something that, if you've made it this far, regardless of what your situation or conditions in, I mean, it is commendable, because this is something that I hope I don't see in my lifetime again. This has just been ridiculous. I mean, yes, there have been many good things that have happened because of it, but at the same time, there have been so many weird things that have happened. And, I haven't done as many live streams as I normally do, but I will say, though, that I'm just glad to be able to do stuff like this. So this is, like I said, this is my thank you to everyone for the year, for all that. And wherever you are and wherever you're watching from, I hope you enjoy this. And like I said, I will. My disclaimer to this whole thing is that I am not a professional chef at any streak of the imagination. I am not a professional chef at all, but I do know how to follow directions really well. So I'm gonna make this happen. So the chocolate chip cookie, there's a lot of ways to make chocolate chip cookies. There's like a cajillion recipes. You go online, it'll tell you certain things. The one that I'm using actually does not use any white sugar whatsoever. This was a completely brown sugar recipe, and my twist to it is because I do like an extra molasses flavor. The recipe here calls for light brown sugar. I actually do dark. So this one here, I will post at the end of all of this. I will post the link to this, but this is the Joanna Gaines recipe that's in her book. And this particular one, I have made this batch of cookies at least 3 times before, and in my opinion, has probably been the best for my taste. the best all-around cookie that I have made. I've actually shipped this one out as well. So, I mean, there have been a few good ones. Like, there's some that use brown butter, which is another one. That one takes a little bit longer because you still have to brown the butter. This one here I would consider the nice mix between quick and dirty and tasty. Also has a nice kind of chewiness to it, a little bit of crisp on the edges, you know, just gives it a really nice texture to it. Now, the other thing too is this particular recipe does call for unsalted butter. So, and I only have my Irish salted butter, which is what I use on prime rib. So, in lieu of that, and honestly, it really doesn't make too much of a difference unless you're really that anal. Instead of using, what I'm going to do is I'm going to omit the sea salt that's been asked to put into it since the butter's already salted. And then what I'll do is when the cookies are done, I'm going to just sprinkle a little bit of sea salt on top just to give it some accent. But really, I found that using either salted or unsalted butter in this particular recipe, it really does not make that much of a difference in regards to the way that these cookies taste, because they do come out amazing. And of course, the other ingredients that I use, such as, you know, legit, like, genuine, like, Nestle Toll House, like, the good shit, yeah, okay. I mean, you gotta use the good stuff. Like, that's just what it is. You know, if you're gonna at least do something with cookies, you gotta make it, like, yeah, you know, use the good stuff. So the way I'm gonna look at this is, I have the instructions right next, the directions here, right next to me. I do have my oven behind me, preheated to 350 degrees, and I also have 2 baking sheets that already have parchment paper lined out. So I'm gonna go through this recipe, and yes, I am making chocolate chip cookies if you are popping in here. So let's take a look here. So first off, preheat oven 350 degrees. There you go. That just signified to me that it is preheated, ready to go at 350 degrees. So the next thing that I need to do here is we're going to go ahead and whisk flour, baking soda, and salt together. Now, as I mentioned, I am omitting the salt because I am using butter. So what we're doing first is we're going to be mixing the dry ingredients first, then we're going to mix the wet ingredients, and we're going to go from there. So first of all, if we're going to start the flour, once again, I'd like to thank my next door neighbor who is going to get paid in cookies, okay, for the donation of the 2.5 cups of flour that I needed to actually do this webcast. So I am very grateful. But yes, that's my neighbor. You know, she just had a kid. You know, dad was home. So, you know, mom was doing something. So dad was home and he was like, yeah, I got some flour. Let's do this, you know. And, hey, you know, who doesn't want to be paid in cookies? So here we go. This is our flour right now. So I'm only going to be whisking the flour and the baking soda together. Baking soda is only asking for 1 heaping teaspoon. So I'm going to be doing this over the sink. Because, you know, and it's 1 heaping teaspoon. Yeah, making sure it says teaspoon, not tablespoon. Yeah, I know that feeling. So I'm just going to go ahead and just shake this. Now, one of the things is the reason why I didn't have any flour was because, well, frankly, the flour I had was way too old. And so I threw it out, and then I totally forgot to get another round of flour. Now, of course, that probably, you know, maybe it wouldn't have mattered, but you know what? I didn't want to take any chances, so here we go. So here's my heaping teaspoon of baking soda. Just threw that in there. Boom, done. And I'm going to go ahead and also I would like to thank my coworker at my school as part of the gifts. She gave away these really cool gift basket like packages with Hershey Kissies and a silicone whisk. And I've always wanted a silicone whisk. I'm like, this is amazing. So I am using this. This is for my coworker. Thank you very much for that. So I'm just going to go ahead as I've reiterated here, there is no salt in this one because I am using salted butter. So I'm just, since I'm not, you know, I don't want to guesstimate how much salt they used in that butter. So I'm just going to be like, screw that. Just, yeah. So I'm just going to gently whisk this here and then I'm going to put this aside. And in a medium bowl, okay, whisk flour, baking soda. Okay, I think that's mixed in there pretty good. I'm going to be putting this in slowly. You know, we'll go from there. So here's our big bowl. Now, it says here to use a stand mixer. You don't need a stand mixer. I actually have a hand mixer and some spoons because really the batch that I'm making it doesn't really require that much. So what we're going to do is stand mixer. Okay, scratch that with the paddle attachment. Well, as you can see. Yeah, I got it. I'm good. Oh, Morning, Faith. How are you doing? Oh, Merry Christmas. I'm making cookies, so I'm putting on my impromptu cookie show here. That's what I'm doing. So I'm at the part where I'm about to mix the wet ingredients right now, and then I'm gonna mix it with the dry ingredients, and then I'm going to start baking some cookies behind me. So the first thing we're gonna do is we need to beat butter and sugar on medium-high speed until light and fluffy. Okay, so the first thing that I need to do is put the sugar. Now, once again, this particular version of the chocolate chip cookie recipe does not have any white sugar, and it is completely brown sugar. So, and as I've mentioned, the recipe actually calls for light sugar, light brown sugar. But you know what? I love that molasses feel. I like the taste, and I want to get that extra kind of like just that nice home cooked feel. Oh, that smells good. I haven't pulled this bag of brown sugar out since September, and it just hit me in the face with that molasses. Holy cow. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I need to do 2 cups of packed light brown sugar. So, I mean, you got to pile this in. So, this is my cup. I'm going to put it in here because in case I miss, oh no, we have some extra sugar, darn. So I'm going to go ahead and measure out 2 cups of this here. So, here we go. It's a small hole just because I'm going to be resealing this again and then putting it back in the Ziploc bag to keep it fresh and nice, because I plan to make more cookies. And mea culpa, yes, I will next time I go to the supermarket when they're open again, because obviously it's Christmas Day. So, of course, everything was closed. I was this close to saying, maybe I should go hit up the 7-Eleven and just see if they had any, and I'm just like, ah, crap. But thankfully, like I said, I asked politely, and my neighbor's cool, and, this entire pandemic, I will say, while I'm doing this, is that I have awesome neighbors. I will just say that straight up right now. I have really awesome neighbors, and, we all have done something for each other in some way, shape, or form. And, everyone has been relatively safe this entire time, and we've all been okay. My neighbors behind me actually have children. My neighbors in front of me have children. I'm a teacher. Like, we're all, just making sure that everything we do is safe and everything. So it's been a good time. I mean, last week I was cleaning out some stuff in my garage, and I was cleaning out some stuff in the house, and I was just giving away a bunch of things I didn't need anymore. Unfortunately, the neighbors across from me, like over there, they do crafting, and I had a bunch of extra crafting supplies, and I was able to donate. And at one point, they gave me an extra aquarium, to use for animal rescue when I got to that point again. So, it's been a good time. And by the way, too, is that I can see your comments. I'm actually broadcasting. Last time I did this with my when I did the broadcasting, I actually was broadcasting off my phone. This year, I'm actually using my MacBook laptop. My MacBook Mini. So this is my first cup. I stick a little while there. Sorry. And I'm gonna just stick this in here one more time and do another cup because I wanted to, And I actually have my microphone connected via USB to my right. It's on the desk here. You just can't see it, but I do have my nice microphone here, for maximum sound quality and all the. Too bad though, there's no smell-o-vision. Can't help you there, but it's one of those things. But as I was saying, yeah, like I said, my neighbors are awesome. We've all been able to just work with each other's needs during the pandemic, and one of my next door neighbors was pretty much pregnant for the entire pandemic, and she's fine and the baby's fine and everybody turned out okay. That was the one. If you were actually following me on Facebook, at one time I was actually on standby because she was planning on giving birth in the house and ended up having to go to the hospital because I mean, she was fine, but it's just that the labor was going too long and they just needed to pop her out. So that ended up not happening. But at one point I was this was Thanksgiving weekend. I was actually on standby to take photos if the water birth were to occur at any time, because she had started going into labor and all that stuff. So yeah, I was just one of those kind of things where, being the professional photographer I am, I just kind of had to take it for the team. It was a very sleepless weekend. But you know what? I'm glad it happened that weekend and not like, not like while I was at school or something like that. That would have sucked. So, working on it here. Like I said, it's a very tiny bag. Tiny hole, and I'm not going to cut any more into it because, like I said, I'm trying to seal this up for later. So, anyway. Alright, so there's our 2 cups, approximately. Oops. Oh, darn, I might have a little extra there. It kind of come out there. Alright. Okay. And, yeah, let's make sure that, yeah, that looks like a cup. Sure. Eyeball it, right? But yeah. So, that was an interesting time. And then, while all that was going on, I was also dealing with, so, for those who don't know about my current job situation, so, in August of this year, this was, mid-August, I actually ended up interviewing and getting a full-time position as a computer science teacher in a private school in Orange County, teaching kindergarten through 5th grade. Now the big thing is that because it's Orange County, and I live in Los Angeles County, Orange County has less restrictions in regards to schooling. And for Los Angeles County, as of right now, Los Angeles County is completely online learning right now due to the increasing numbers in the pandemic. So it's been that way. They started to try to integrate back into schools. It didn't happen. It was very short-lived, and then back into that. So it was a very interesting time. Anyway, while that's going on, I have my two cups of dark brown sugar here. I'm going to add the butter because, I got to do that. I'm using Kerrygold here because, you always use, no matter how amateur of a cook you are, you will be saved if you use the good shit. That's basically how that's how I've kind of, you're always saved if you use the good stuff. Anyway, as I was saying, since I'm, Los Angeles County, and of course nobody was like hiring with anything. Nothing. But nobody was hiring. I was actually substitute teaching for a local district up the street from me. And, I actually had begun the first week or 2 of school. I was actually working for that district when I was offered the job at the other place, and then I ended up leaving 2 weeks into the semester. And the part that was really funny about the whole thing is that I was one of the more experienced and, seasoned teachers at, so for me to leave that particular district was a huge blow to them. They were not happy about it. Not that they weren't happy for me, but I'm saying, it was just a huge blow because I will say this, I resigned officially on August 26th, and to this day, all the way up to last Friday, okay? All the way up to last Friday, I was still getting phone calls from the automated ASOP system to substitute teach. And I was actually, so school for me at the private school got out on Thursday. And so Friday I was eligible to do it, but then after I got home on Thursday afternoon, I'm just like, screw this, I'm done. I'm toast. I have done my time, and you guys are only going to pay me half of what I would have made it, in a day at the other place. Anyway, with that being said, I have the butter here. I had it actually out for a while just to get it to room temperature so it's nice and soft. And the next thing that I need to do to this is that I need to churn this to beat it until it is light and fluffy, approximately 2 to 3 minutes. So I'm going to have some fun with this. I just scrape some of this here. And we're just going to go ahead and have added here. So here we go. of the stuff from the outside here, so I can continue, you know, making sure this is beaten until light and fluffy. That is the instruction, is beat to light and fluffy. Well, I can't really do that when all the stuff is on the side, so go ahead and take my spatula here and, you know, get it to where it's actually light and fluffy, whatever that means. Well, I mean, obviously visually you'll know when you know. At this point, it's actually okay for me to like beat the, you know, living crap out of this one because, you know, you want it light and fluffy, right? It's so fluffy! That I get all of the ingredients out there. There's a little bit of butter off the top here that I need to grab and just kind of just mix in there. So make sure that it's getting to the point of life and fluffy here. I just have to, you know, blend this a little bit more until it's almost like liquidy in consistency here. So think like kind of the consistency. Oh, that smells oh my gosh, that smells amazing. Kind of like the consistency of like really chunky almond butter. I think it's probably the best way I could describe it. Or like a peanut buttery. You know, you just want to make sure that it's got that kind of edge to it, kind of thing. Yeah, sure. Like I said, disclaimer: I am not a professional chef. I just know how to read instructions extremely well. That's all I can do. Sometimes knowing is half the battle. At least the cartoon in the '80s told me that. All right, here we go. So in response to the whole letterboard thing I got there, so, you know, as you know, I'm kind of obsessed with IKEA, and the last few times that I've been to the Carson IKEA, I had been looking for that particular IKEA product, and every time I went, they were sold out of it. It's the letterboard that you can get here, and it's just a fun thing. I wanted it, and I realized, you know what, this was kind of like a mini like stocking stuffer gift to myself for Christmas, and it's just something that I thought was kind of funny. So I decided, you know what, let me just go ahead and do that. So right now I have this kind of blended into about the consistency of, I'm gonna say it's about the consistency of like peanut butter. So that's kind of where you want to be. So the next thing I'm going to be doing here is about 2 to 3 minutes of blending. So it's easily been that much. Then the next thing I need to do is to go ahead and throw down I need to add eggs and then add the vanilla. Okay, so the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and add the eggs in. So there we go. Try not to screw this up on, Facebook Live or leave any, right? It's like, please don't screw this up. Try not to. Get in there. Go. So, but yes, I thought this was fun. Also, one of the little cool hacks about this particular letterboard that I have up here, other than it's kind of telling you what I'm doing, is that it also hides the microphone that I'm using to talk to you. It's actually behind the letterboard. It's pretty sweet. So I can keep this oh so professionally looking, make it sound awesome, and at the same time you can't see any of my equipment, and it actually works out great. So there we go. There is our 2 eggs there that got thrown in. I'm gonna go ahead and beat until blended, as they say, which is something you talk about in baking, not in child discipline. Just by the way. Well, that was a really horrible joke. I know. So I'm gonna go ahead and mix this until blended, and then I'm gonna add the vanilla. There you go. Okay, that was quick and sleazy, because I got to do the next part, which is the vanilla extract. So, by the way, one of the things that I've learned over my time making cookies and stuff is that I'm just gonna make my own vanilla extract. So right here is actually my homemade blend of DIY vanilla extract that I've had since basically the start of the pandemic around late April. What this is actual Madagascar grade B, appearance beans. Cut, slice in the middle so that it exposes the seed pods inside, or seeds inside the pod. And I have it infused in something we like to call Long Beach water. So this particular vodka is actually made locally down the street in Long Beach by a place called Willie's Tin Shop, and it's in Long Beach. And this particular vodka, the reason why I'm using this vodka is that it is made locally, and also this particular distillery, as soon as we were hit with the pandemic and there was a shortage of hand sanitizer, they switched all of their production to completely produce nothing but hand sanitizer for a long while. And so what I decided to do is, this is just kind of my other nod to Willie's Tin Shop, because I had actually given them quite a lot of business in regards to helping friends go acquire that kind of stuff. I'm gonna go ahead and hit this window because it's hitting me. I don't like this. Try that again. Try that again. Whew. Yeah, it was hitting me pretty good. I know the light quality is gonna go down a little bit, but I'm getting hit in the face. But anyway, as I was saying, Willie's Tin Shop in Long Beach was greatly responsible for a lot of the hand sanitizer that I was able to give out and distribute. And the fact that I am incorporating their vodka was used to create this vanilla extract. This is just a really cool way to kind of give them a little bit of a nod for the amazing work they were doing, and the fact that their sister restaurant, Roxanne's, which operates in front of Willie's Tavern, has been able to stay alive this long, despite all of the restrictions from the pandemic. Like I said, I have given them quite a bit of my business. I'm really glad that they are still around. So we're going to be doing 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla extract. So this is where it gets interesting, because you go ahead and do that. And like I said, it's really actually really, really easy to create your own vanilla extract, because I'm going to blow through this stuff. Actually, at one point, this particular jar was actually full, and I've had a few friends make cookies with this, and they've given me really good. This is actually the first time that I'm using this to make cookies. I've actually been using this to make lattes, but you know what? Why not? So we're gonna do 1.5 teaspoons. Here we go. So here's my one. This is my one, and you know what? Screw it. I'm just gonna eyeball the half because I don't care. There. That's my personal nod to this. Like I said, And one of the nice things about using your own homemade vanilla extract is the fact that when you are using it, it doesn't have as weird of a chemically taste because you know what kind of vodka you used for that. And yeah, let's just say this is the good stuff. So I'm gonna go ahead and mix that nicely. You know, infuse that vanilla in there, get it all in there, all up in there. You know. Alright. Smell that already. Oh yeah. Alright, so now that that's been put in, the next thing I want to do is I'm going to add the flour mixture. So the way it's going to work is I'm going to be mixing it medium until it's just the flour's mixed in. And then I'm going to turn the mixture to high speed to pull it all together. So it's going to be very chunky. Obviously, I don't have a secondary camera for this, but if you want to see, or you would like to see the viscosity of this particular wet ingredient, you can see that it's very much like a mousse, maybe. I think is probably the way I can put it, like a mousse. But it does come out quite nicely. So remember those dry ingredients we were dealing with earlier? Well, they're coming back. Here we go. So I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go ahead and just slowly, throw that in here, and we won't be needing the sugar anymore. So that's gonna go over here now. Okay, here we go. So I'm gonna go ahead and just slowly do this, and just kind of remember that when I did this earlier is that when mixing the dry ingredients, it did call for some salt, but because I'm using salted butter, I omitted the salt on purpose because it's already salted. There's no point. So there we go. That is all in there. Now I'm going to go ahead and just to start this off, I'm going to use the spatula here and just kind of start it a little bit so that it's not so weird. I'm going to get, a poof of flour in my face or something like that. And like, that would not be good. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and just scrape that across the mixer thing so that I can get most of it out. I have to say, I will admit that one of the things I learned this year is that spatulas are super important. I have gone years without using an actual, legit, bona fide spatula for anything, and I was paying the price. And I'm so glad that I went one of my last few trips to IKEA to go grab one. So I'm going to mix on medium until the flour is mixed in. So here we go. Go ahead and mix it in. Do is just take my spatula here and just kind of scrape the edges of the bowl to make sure that everything is mixed in. It's one thing that just to make sure all the flour gets taken in there. You don't want to I don't want to do this too much because you're starting to start building the gluten in the flour and stuff, but at least I want to make sure that all the flour gets used here because we don't want waste, and we want to make sure that we have every single ounce of wonderful cookie dough goodness. I can smell that butter. Holy crap. It is amazing. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is turn the mixer to high speed for a few seconds to pull everything in. Well, everything is already pulled in, but I'll do it, sure. Let me just go ahead and do that real quick. There we go. Yeah, that's pulled in pretty good. Wow, okay. That is some thick, spelled with 2 C's, from cookie dough. Holy cow. Okay. So, I guess that's what they meant by that, right? So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm now going to add the chocolate chips. Now, it's saying that I need to beat this in for about 5 seconds to thoroughly and quickly mix in the chips. What I'm going to do first, actually, is kind of mix it in with a spatula first, and then I'll finish it off with the mixer. So here we go. This is fresh, fresh bag here. So here we go. We'll go ahead and cut a hole in. We'll cut a nice angle here. Yes. All right. So now the recipe does call for 1.5 cups of chips. Depending on how much of a chocolate whore you are, you can choose to do 2 or maybe something like that. So, I mean, it's totally up to you. I'm gonna do about 1 2/3 because I'm not a huge chocolate whore, but you know what? Everybody needs chocolate right now, and you know, why not? So here's my 1 cup of semi-sweets. Throw that in there. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and do my half. Here we go. And of course, because you know, this is my rules. We're eyeballing this, so sounds about right to me. All right, that's about, I think, 1/2 to 2/3, give or take, you know, whatever we're doing. And then before I really mix everything in, I just want to take my spatula here and just kind of go in and just mix it a little bit. This doesn't have to be like super elegant, but just to save time, and also so that I don't mix this too hard. And really, because I don't want to put, like I said, too much air in this. You know, you want the cookies to kind of just do their thing. So I'm going to just slowly do that real quick. Just a little bit. There we go. Okay, now my spatula is nice and clean because I took everything off of it. Cool. Yes, I'm not licking any of this on camera. Okay, that's a behind the scenes thing. We're not doing that. All right, there we go. So I got to do this on beat on high for 5 seconds to thoroughly, quickly mix in the chips. Okay. Has it been 5 seconds yet? Okay. Okay, I think that's enough. And magically, for the most part, it's clean. I'm kind of impressed. Less clean for me later. Oops, I'm gonna flip some stuff all over the table. Darn, I might have to clean that. Oh darn. I wonder what this tastes like. Oh, that's gonna be good. Okay. So at least everything else works. And you know, it's always good when it's homemade. So now, if you were to store these cookies, they have a shelf life of about 3 days. If I were to give these cookies away, they have a shelf life of approximately 3 minutes. Yeah, that's just that's just how it goes down. All right, shit. Okay, so now that we finally got to the point where I have amazing cookie dough, and I'm just gonna go ahead and stick this on the camera real quick. Okay, here we go. Just because I can. This is amazeballs. There you go. There is your cookie dough right there. Oh, that's a yummies. Yeah. Okay. I figured that most of you probably stopped watching at this point, but it's okay because this is the good stuff. Right, here we go. Next thing I want to do is I want to arrange them by the spoonful. Because I don't have to worry about much in regards to the because I have parchment paper, so I don't need to, and so I need to drop large spoonfuls. Large spoonful, I would say approximately, here's your dinner, you know, standard dinner one, and I'm just gonna be like, oh, what sounds good? Probably about, good spoonful. Yeah, that'll do. So I'll show you in a bit what this looks like. Let's say, I think 2 per. Oh yeah. Now, nice thing too is that this dough is just kind of what it is. There's no like need to refrigerate or anything like that. You just kind of drop it in and make it happen. So here we go. Large spoonfuls. Well, whatever you define as a large spoonful. I mean, what about loving spoonful? Well, that's technically a music word. Okay, here we go. So I'm gonna do like 8 in a single because I'm making some nice big cookies here. So Gonna just kind of, you said large spoonful, I'll give you a large spoonful right here. I'll show you that large spoonful. Just making sure. The other thing too is that because this this dough isn't frozen or chilled, the chips do tend to fall out. So it's just kind of one of those that you just kind of have to wing it, you know, as you. But it's okay. So here we go. Making sure that I put an adequate amount of chips in every single one of these spoonfuls, so that we, make sure these chips are all distributed, all the goodness is distributed evenly, right? Because that's important. Now, so I'm going ahead here and making this happen. Okay, so like I said, I hope everyone's okay right now. You know. So here's my first round of them. So here's the first round, and give that a nice little, those are, like we said, large spoonful. So we'll see how those come out. I'm gonna say probably I might need to just chop that down a little bit because I do want to make sure that we have enough cookie for everyone. So I'm just gonna actually kind of drop maybe about, I don't know, like 15% off each one, just to make sure that I have just enough cookie for everyone here. Just, like I said, it doesn't have to be packed tightly. This is a spoon drop style, so it's gonna, these will round themselves out once I put them in. So that's the first one. Okay, here's my second, and I'm gonna go ahead and make my next batch here. So make sure that there's an appropriate amount of chips. Okay, that's the important part. You got, appropriate amount of chips, right? You make sure that everything fits nicely and stays in its own little, want to make sure that whenever I scoop a bunch of dough that I get some chips with it too, and if the chips don't stick, you just kind of stick them in for you, kind of, yeah. So yeah, it's all good. Just kind of trying to make sure that everything stays put. It's cookies, right? And make sure that there's enough for everyone. So, like I said, now supposedly this makes about 40 cookies. I think that's a total load of crock. I'm going to say this make about 25, 30, maybe. We'll see, because I'm putting them in right now, and some of these are going to be more chocolate than cookie, which I'm kind of laughing about. Like I said, I'm just making sure that the amounts are even. And we're okay. All right, so there we go. Now behind me, I have a cooling rack, so that's gonna go. Okay, and there you go. So that's oh, hold on here, and just make sure that this chip doesn't fall out. Yeah, come back here. Where do you think you're going? Yeah, where do you think you're going? So there's the second. So I'm going to be cooking about 16 at a time here. And then when I put them in the oven, it's going to be at 350 degrees for approximately 10 to 11 minutes. They have to be baked until they're lightly browned on top. So 10 to 11. I'm going to go ahead and load these up here. And that bake time on. Alright, cool. Yeah. Alright, well, I'm not going to bore you too much with the details here, but as you know, that's pretty much cookies. I'm going to wait for these, and then I will be taking, yes, yes, cookies are happening. I just loaded them up, James. I just totally did. And not going to bore you too much with the details, but about 10 to 11 minutes from now, there will be cookies. I will put them in the comments. And also, I will make sure that the recipe that I used for this particular assignment, I say this little project, is going to end up on in the comments as well. And like I said, cookies batches, making tons of cookies batches. So, you know, I hope that all of you today are being good batches. And don't be bad batches. Okay, just be good batches. It's okay. Yeah, that's me and the cookies. Merry Christmas. It's 2020. Let's get through this, okay? We have one more freaking week of this bleeping year, okay? We're almost done. It's okay. All right? I will talk to y'all later. Thank you for hanging out with me. And, yeah, Merry Christmas. Done here. Where is my duns? Is duns.